person get kidney stones from too much dark leafy greens?
If you look in the beginning, the very first chapter in the Bible, God gave you your diet. And he prefaces it with the word, and God said. Well, he said all of it. All scripture is given by inspiration of God. In that diet he gave you is this: fruits, vegetables, and their seeds is what I've given to you for food. It would be impossible to have anything go wrong with your body by eating greens. And here's the irony of our stupid educational system. You were told in school you get protein from meat. You follow me? Ever look at the animals producing the protein? Buffaloes, cows, horses. Their diet is nothing but dark green grass for their entire lives, one course meal for their entire lives. And they're far healthier and stronger than any of us. Again, if you look at nature and you align the stuff they're telling you, you're realizing you're being lied to big time at all levels. And it's all coming from the God of this world, who's a liar and the father of lies. And we've got to wake up to the reality. You question everything you're told. And you line it up with the word and nature. And if it doesn't align, it's a lie. And you just let it go. And it's amazing how you have people with all these degrees and all this supposed affluence that are lying to us. Get it? It's a lie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how it comes. If it's not the truth, it's a lie. And Satan only does lies.
Like people that take blood thinners, they're not supposed to eat dark leafy greens.
And they're taking blood thinners because they ate a bunch of trash before that mess up their bodies, and they're not moving. Their blood cells are all compacted with garbage because they weren't eating the greens in the first place.
Yeah.
Again, if you just connect the dots, if you eat greens, you're not going to get, your vessels won't get hardened arteries. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
You look at the first generation of people who ate nothing but greens and fruit. What was the average lifespan? 930 years. After the flood, when they started eating meat, what did it go down to? 120. Connect the dots, people. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. And you know what? God never designed us to eat meat, because a God of love would never kill an innocent animal to provide food for another. That's not love. And if you look at the millennium, when Jesus comes back for the next 1,000 years and restores everything as it was in the beginning, Acts chapter 3, even the predators of nature will not be eating meat. The lion will lie down with the lamb, because nothing will ever kill again after Jesus comes back, because it was never his design.
But yet he did eat fish when
He did, because he was part of the fallen world.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
That was their culture.
That was their culture. And he ate lamb on Passover because that's what they did.
Yeah.
But in the millennium, we're going to be keeping the Lord's feast, but I question we'll be eating lamb on Passover.
Oh,
I don't think so.
No killing, no death.
There won't be, because that's not his heart. A God of love. And when you look at when the first time an animal was killed was the result of sin. God killed an animal to shed blood, because after shedding blood there's no remission of sin, and he uses the skin to clothe him. But that's the first time it happened as a result of sin. It never happened before, and when he comes back and sin's removed, it's not going to ever happen again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I spoke to you on the phone this week. I'm
Cool.
Jenny.
All right, Jenny, great. Yes.
What do you do with the sprouts coming up off the tree?
Over here, I'm gonna dig down with my asparagus knife.
No, I mean on the trees where the shoots are going straight up, the water shoots.
Oh, I come out on Saturdays on my Sabbath.
Uh-huh.
In a time of meditation, I go out there and I rub all my trees with my hands and rub all those suckers off.
Okay.
Just when they're little. I don't ever use a tool. Just rub them off.
Well, some of them are like this long already on the top.
Oh, then I'll be getting those off.
You'll just snip them off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because on the pears
Right.
because I've been pretty much focused on trying to get stuff in the garden, but I'll get to them, because I won't tolerate that, because it's just going to take life from the tree and shade, and I'm not going to have it. So I'm just slow.
So you prune them
all year
you
long.
get 'em.
All year long, I'm
All
pruning.
year long. Okay. Thank you.
How often do you get a haircut? Once a year? Some people, but in most cases you do it okay, pretty regularly. Well,
Whenever you need it.
same with the trees, just there's things that are growing out of place, so they get removed.
Did you plant your sequoias?
Yes, 19 years ago. Everybody here, I want you to look across over here. You see that sequoia straight through there? You see that you follow the corner of the house, that is a sequoia. That was planted the same day I planted these. It's 1/3 the size. And you know why? People ask me, how fast will that grow? And I said, that's up to you. So that one I planted in dirt, these I planted in wood chips. And these are 3 times the size. If you look straight behind, you look at the corner of my house, you look straight back, there's a sequoia tree right there. On the corner of that house, that log, go straight back, you'll hit a sequoia tree. If you look at the size of that trunk compared to that one, it's 1/3 the size. And it was planted the same day. That with no wood chips, that with wood chips. It's huge, the difference.
19 years ago.
Yeah, so I tell young people, you can plant a forest. Those trees are only 19 years old.
Yeah.
Here's something about a forest. You look on the hillside over here in front of me. They just clear-cutted. See all that? That's all clear-cutted. I was here 38 years ago when they clear-cutted the last time. When they did it 38 years ago, they used chainsaws, and they were big trees they made saw logs out of. This time they did it, 38 years later, there was not one chainsaw used, and they chipped every tree because they were so little. There was no saw logs. They made all chips out of them because they were so little. The same, and you would think that when you do something that doesn't work, you'd stop doing it. Clear cutting is not natural. It's not the way to manage a forest. And here's what's so cool. You see what nature's doing? You see the ground up there? It's turning green. Weeds are starting to come back and cover the ground because it knows it's not safe uncovered. Weeds never were there before. But now that it's exposed, weeds are coming in. You know the next thing that's going to show up? Are alder trees. You know why alder trees show up? Because alders have nitrogen-fixing nodules on their roots, and they're putting nitrogen back in the soil to build the soil for the next generation of conifers. And when the conifers get good size, mature, all the alders break up and die and become fertilizer. The design in nature is so genius. God is so awesome. How even when we mess up, how He always comes back with order, trying to restore. All of nature is connected to the Father for the maintenance and support of a healthy environment. It's only people that mess it up. It's so awesome to see that. All that green developing over there, it never happened before because nature's trying to restore and cover that ground.
Did you address your lawn? And I missed it.
What,
Because this is awesome lawn.
you know what this lawn is? This is a pasture. You see how uneven it is all over the place?
Yeah.
I started mowing it.
Oh.
You know why it looks so nice? You know why all the pastures in nature look nice? And all the lawns in people's yards and cities look terrible?
Fertilizer.
Chemical fertilizers. Who's old enough here to realize that when you were growing up as a kid, there was no thatch in your lawn if you lived in the city? If you lived in the city when you're growing up, no one had thatch in their lawns. Thatch is dead grass that you have to come with a machine and rip out to make your lawn look like when you mow it's all yellow. You know why thatch happens in lawns? Because of chemical fertilizers. See, as my grass dies, which it does every year, the grass breaks down and feeds the grass. Because everything in the grass, worms, bacteria, fungi, all break it down and turn it back to soil. When you apply chemical fertilizers, you kill all that life force. All the worms leave, all the bacteria and fungus totally die, and now there's nothing to break the grass down. Now you have dead grass, thatch. I've come to lawns full of thatch and moss and covered with chicken manure, and in 3 weeks they had the brightest, greenest lawn they ever had, and all the thatch, manures, and moss is gone because I reestablished the natural order. It's incredible how insane brain dead we are. It's incredible how we live with all this negative stuff from what we do and never connect the dots. That's not natural. That's not happening. Nothing in nature is thatched. It's not ungreen. It's all healthy. we're putting, if you look at the color of those grasses that are fed with, it's a dull black green. It's not a lush green like this.
So do you put anything on your lawn?
Nothing.
Do you mulch as you go when you mow? You just
No, I collect it all and feed it to my chickens. This is all chicken food. This is a resource. They love grass. And the grass feeds, if you look in nature and prairies, who's fertilizing them? Excuse me.
By itself.
No, they're not. A bird in that huge million-acre, what's it going to do? The grass dies and it feeds itself, as everything in nature does. It's so simple. Nothing's imported. It's all there, and it's all free, and it's innumerable. It's unlimited forever.
So as it gets hotter in the summer, you just let it.
I water this. See, I got irrigation system out here, and I love green grass because it looks cool.
Oh, okay.
And I feed my chickens with it, so I have a good well now. So I water. I love green.
All right.
If you were to put a little bit of wood chips down, would you have to water it?
Yeah, but I'll show you about wood chips. Here's let me tell you how brain dead I am. I am so much of this culture that it's pathetic. You see this space over here? It's kind of low, and so in the wintertime, water comes running through here because it's heavy clay ground and it doesn't drain. So as I'm not being able to walk, and I mow my mower with a walk-behind mower, I'm coming across this space here, and I'm not moving quick enough, and the mower is sinking into the mud and just dying. So I had to pay someone, and it cost me $100 to mow my lawn. So I says, God, what's up with it? I can't live like this. And God says, just put wood chips over it. I thought, what? Yeah, put wood chips over it. And so I did. Here's what happened the next April. I came back over that space, and the water is running on top of the ground like it always has, because I had a wood chip base that didn't turn to mud, that kept the wheels buoyant. I wasn't sinking in it, and I started screaming. I was so blown away, like, wow, God. And then the lawn was much greener. You see how much healthier that is? Because the wood chips were feeding it. I'm telling you, man, wood chips work for everything. And I didn't get it. There's nothing that wood chips don't benefit. So on the lawn, screen them down to ½ inch so it's not a bunch of sticks, cover in the fall. You can have an awesome lawn. Wood chips will do it all. It's phenomenal.
How deep would you go?
Just enough to cover. I mean, the more you have, the better. It's like money in the bank. How much money do you want in the bank?
But you don't want to put a foot down.
No, this is a couple inches.
Before you seed.
This is in the fall when you stop mowing.
Oh, this is after you have a lawn.
Yeah.
Put
Now,
wood
if you want to do a lawn, you put down the seed, 1 pound per 100 square foot, not 250, what they tell you, because you want thick grass, and you put a wood chips over that just lightly. Keep it watered, and you have a great lawn. ½ inch screen wood chips over that grass, just like a light layer, just to cover. And
like these wood chips out here?
yeah, like what's in my garden.
Right?
No, the stuff you see the stuff in my garden.
Screen it.
Screen it.
Screen the wood chips.
You see that? You see it where the lettuce and spinach was? That was screened wood chips. You see how fine it was? Because you see the windows. Well, I get it in my chicken pen over there. You see that ½ inch grid? I screen with that, and that's what all the heavy stuff's out. And so it just falls right in between the blades, feeds the lawn, and it's awesome. So I'm just coming to the reality: there's nothing that wood chips don't benefit. Nothing.
What if you're
All my
starting-
potted plants in the house have wood chips.
pots in here,
Yeah,
all
you
those
see,
plants
you know why those plants are in pots? You know what they are? Mint. Don't you ever plant mint and wood chips. You'll never stop it. It'll take your whole yard over. You see over there, I got comfrey. Comfrey's in a container. It's awesome food, man. But you put in wood chips and you'll lose it. So there's some things you can't plant in wood chips.
So what happens if you do?
It'll take your whole yard over. When I was moving well in my
It just spreads out there.
My wife planted some down by the pond over here, some mint, and it took me 3 days when I was in good shape, moving quick, to get it out. 3 days. I'm telling you, man, the roots spread like crazy in the wood chips. This thing, it's unstoppable. So there's some things you cannot put in wood chips. So you put the wood chips in a barrel, and you can contain it. You can stop it.
Your wild rose, that's in the
Yeah.
container too.
Yeah.
Does that spread too much?
Well, that container the wild rose is the bottom's out of it. It's all broken to pieces, and the roots are way down in the dirt. Yeah,
And
Kidding me. Okay.
so our lot has a lot of pebbles, so we are going to grade it.
no,
Make it-
pebbles are awesome.
But it's like rocks.
Here,
Yeah,
here's
it's not-
this is so cool. This is God. I want you all to hear me. What she's bringing up here is a God thing.
Yes.
Those pebbles in your garden, you never want to take out.
Yeah.
because pebbles are mineral concentrated.
Okay.
What do you want in the garden? Minerals?
Yes.
Here's the irony of what we're told in school. We're told to take rocks out of the garden. This is where she's coming from. If you ever driven along mountain passes,
Yes.
and you look off the side of the road at these gorgeous firs and hemlocks and pines growing out of solid rock that are
Yeah.
bright, dark green.
Yes.
Excuse me. And you're telling me I can't grow a garden in rocks? So over here in my gravel driveway, last year my wife had a pot like that, and an herb went to seed in August, and it spread over my gravel. I had this total mass of bright green, lush, gorgeous plants growing out of gravel in August with no rain. And so I'm showing people, if you want an awesome garden, you want to mess with wood chips, put crushed rock down. You can grow an awesome garden in crushed rock because it's minerals. Now in Japan, the culture is more connected to the nature than we are as a culture. And they don't have a lot of wood material, a lot of plant material to create wood chips. You know how they cover the ground over there because they don't have it exposed? They lay rocks meticulously around all their planted areas because the rocks hold moisture and release minerals. Let me tell you my experience as a kid in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a desert. And I'm a kid. I want to go fishing in August. Good luck finding worms because the ground is baked, compacted, and there's no worms. You know how you find them? You find a large rock and you roll it over. There's worms and the ground's damp. It says two things. One is the rock's retaining moisture and releasing minerals to feed the worm. Again, man, it's just here, the insanity of the stuff we do. You see over there, in front of that rose, if you look close, there's a major pile of rocks. It used to be a big hole. That is my altar.
Yeah.
And I so love having it there because when I was not thinking and not praying, I took all those rocks out of my garden when I rototilled. Every time I rototilled, I had a wheelbarrow and I hauled wheelbarrow loads of rocks that are all over there to take out of my garden because I was tilling. And so every time I walk by that pile of rocks, it reminds me of the insanity of not asking God. I'm so, you know why God had the patriarchs build altars? Because we have short memories and we forget. And an altar always reminds you of that impact you have with God. And so every time I walk by, thank you, God, I finally listened.
So
I work so hard. I'm hauling wheelbarrow loads and I'm taking minerals. I'm actually taking money out of my bank at labor-intensive work to subtract. I'm working hard to do it. I'm just telling you, man, it's insane. It's crazy.
And how about after we cut the grass?
Put wood chips over the rocks, the gravel.
Yeah, put
Cover all with wood
yeah,
chips,
wood
and
chips,
no one will
yes.
ever know there's rocks underneath, and all your stuff will grow great.
Then we might not be able. We might not need to grade the ground.
You know why you don't need a grade?
Yeah, just
If you put the wood chips, you level,
Yeah,
you
you
level,
level.
and you're graded.
Yeah.
You see, all this stuff we're doing changes with the cover. No grading, no digging, no work. Just bury it and you're good. It's over. And only you know what's under there. No one else even knows. Who cares?
Okay. Oh, wow.
So again, track with me. God doesn't grade.
You're right.
He doesn't have raised beds.
He just not let the leaves fall and.
All he does is cover, puts covering. And everything in nature is beautifully leveled, beautifully ordered. Again, if you connect the dots, it's so simple. And it's the best. Doesn't get better. And there's no work involved.
I know it will cost a lot, so I was kind of worrying about
Again,
grade.
the word is, he came to set you free. Everything about God is free and sets
Yes, I
free.
believe
If you got to start paying money, you better ask him,
Oh yes.
because it's not him. Because he made it all free for us.